What's up, guys? Ninja Nick 333. We're here with a sort of fake round from the League Challenge that we were just at, the one at Flipside Gaming, Clifton Park. We have Savi on the left, same deck, I believe, again, versus Chris. Chris was like, I'm tired of playing this Lugia deck that bricks so hard for me. If you guys haven't seen the previous rounds, check those out. They're the last 3 uploads, but Chris is deciding to test out his Darkrai deck. He has been working on this for quite as long as Darkrai VSTAR has been a thing, but it's never been good. But it is getting closer to being good. The format is feeling a little bit better for it, but it's still not quite there yet. It's weak to grass, which is different from any of the Darkrai's in the past. They've always been weak to fighting, and I think that makes it a little bit better. Because nobody's playing grass attackers. I mean, some people are playing like Tropius and Lost Box, and that's just bad because there's really not much that's grass weak besides like Tyranitar that's meta in the format, so I don't think it's worth playing anything grass to try to like counter Darkrai V-Star of all things. So me and Tori are still next to them, still playing our round 3 match, so we'll just call this round 4. Even though the League Challenge did end after round 3, it was a small 4-person League Challenge because it was on Mother's Day. And I guess none of the locals knew about it, so we showed up and we're the only people there. Chris just discards his entire hand with research, which not too bad in Darkrai. You could always get the Dark Patches back, but yeah, no, that is an unfortunate draw. Discard 2 Dark Patches. And a cross switcher is not what you want to see there. But again, Darkrai can always get back 2 item cards with its V-Star power. So we see double Battle VIP pass here. And we're going to get out just 2 Pokemon. I think right after Chris did this play, he's like, yeah, Battle VIP passes are coming out of the deck. They're not worth playing. Just play Nest Balls instead. They're better. I think the real issue with Darkrai right now is consistency. You do need to get a lot of energy in play, and without Max Elixir in format, it doesn't feel like you can get enough energy in play to make it worthwhile playing a 1-1 line for the Darkrai. See, Darkrai's strength before was HP numbers were a lot lower. It did 20 plus 20 for each energy, sure, while this one does 30 plus 30, which is a significant difference, but previously it was a basic Pokemon. Even the Zoroark Greninja tag team was a basic Pokemon. Yes, it gave up 3 prizes instead of Darkrai V-Stars 2, but you could just slap it down, Dark Patch, attach for turn, switch into it, and attack. You know, all in one turn. Seems pretty easy to do. We don't have Max Elixir in this format. Darkrai at his prime did play Max Elixir, so it would have been nice if instead of the Electric Generator, we just got maybe Max Elixir back in format. I think that would have been good because you could just play it in multiple decks, but of course that also makes basics a lot stronger, and I think Pokemon is really trying to go back into Stage 2s being playable, because there were previous formats that were all Stage 1 and Stage 2 decks. You would play multiple lines and multiple different Pokemon. Some would be consistency options, some would not be, and I think over the next 3 years we'll get there. Where like decks like Gardevoir are like the best decks, and instead of Zacian they just attack with their own Gardevoirs and things like that. So Savi is just able to get a second energy to the Arceus, and that's it. I think he could have Trinity charged to himself, just get the 3rd energy. I think that would have been fine. I don't think there's any reason not to do that. His Experiment got rid of a couple of cards he didn't need, but he's not getting much else going on right now. Savi has not drawn particularly well in these past games that he has been playing either. So looks like Chris is deciding what he wants to do. He almost attached for a turn, decided to take it back again. This isn't really part of the League Challenge, so that doesn't matter too much. Chris accidentally evolving into the oh, I think he took the Evital off his... Did he take the Yveltal of his Pokestop. I gotta go back and see what he just did with that Yveltal. So, okay, he Pokestops away the Yveltal. And then he evolves into it, and he goes, oh, wait a minute. Not only is that not Darkrai VSTAR, that's an Yveltal instead. So he gets the 2 Ultra Balls off the Pokestop. Those go to his hand. He is able to Ultra Ball away 2 of those Darkness Energies in order to search for the Darkrai VSTAR. So now we have that in play. So we still need an energy attached for turn to the active. That Galarian Moltres is really good in this deck just because it has that ability where you can get 1 Darkness Energy from your discard pile and attach it to that Pokemon every turn. So it does help with these Darkrai decks that are able to attack. Do more damage for every Darkness Energy that is in play. But of course, you could always just boss up a Moltres that has like 3 or 4 energy on it, and then they don't hit for big numbers anymore. So we are going to get back double Dark Patch with our VSTAR power. Going to charge up both of those Pokemon on the bench with it. Or no, just going to go both to the Darkrai VSTAR on the bench. I think that's better because the Moltres can always charge itself up. You don't need to Dark Patch to it. If you Dark Patch to it here, then in a future turn you could have a 4 or 5 energy Moltres, and you don't want that because then it's really hard to keep it in play. It's just such a juicy boss target. Especially if you ever have to attack with the Moltres, it does 30 damage to itself. It just softens itself up so easily. So Savi had a dead hand before, gets judged into what is hopefully a lot more playable, gets a Duraludon. That's not really good in this matchup. Neither is the Umbreon, really. The Umbreon can be good just for the boss effect of the VMAX. And I suppose the Duraludon can just hit hard. It can hit 220. That'll knock out a Moltres at any point. But the key will be if you can attack with Arceus and Sharon's Care at some point. Looks like we are just attaching to the bench the double turbo energy onto the Umbreon and then a Trinity Charge. If you don't have the VSTAR, you definitely do this. So get the most value out of the Arceus this way. Yes, your opponent goes on a 2-prize lead, but you're going to have 2 attackers set up now that will both potentially VMAX and have a ton of HP and get at the very least 2-shot. So looks like we're going to go all energy to the Duraludon. We just need 1 Darkness Energy to be able to attack with the Umbreon. And oh no, Chris bosses up the Duraludon. So this is exactly what Chris needed here. If he can knock out the Duraludon this turn, that'll put him in a fantastic position. So bosses that up. He's going to Ultra Ball away a Cross Switcher and another Ultra Ball. Makes sense. Don't really need the Cross Switcher right here. You already played boss this turn. There's already 1 Cross Switcher in the discard pile, so mismatched a little bit. And you already used your VSTAR power. You're not going to be able to get that 1 back that was in the discard pile anymore. So we Ultra Ball for the Dire Flame. What's it? Dire Flame? Is Dire Flame Wings the EX's ability, or is that the baby one's ability? I can't remember. But either way, the one that where you bench it, you can attach 2 darks from your hand to it. So we are going to see the ability of the Moltres V is going to put an additional energy on itself. We are 10 damage short, unfortunately. So we are not able to take a knockout this turn. We just needed to be able to play 1 more Dark Patch. I think he had it in hand. He just didn't have enough energy in the discard pile. So we do go for the VMAX of the Duraludon. If Chris is able to knock that out, he does take 3 prize cards. Chris is tapping his fingers on the table, and it is shaking the camera because the camera is on. The camera's actually on the next table, but the tables are touching. So just funny how flimsy my tripod ends up being. So I'm sorry for that. I usually try to set it up on the floor if I can, but some of these game stores don't have enough floor space where people won't walk like all over my tripod. And even if they do have space to walk around it, they still don't. So looks like we Pokestop. That is going to get a Pokegear, is going to mill another, I think, Moltres, I think that was, and a Darkness Energy. Darkness Energy getting milled by the Pokestop is really good here. So we are able to get a free energy in play that way. We go for the Pokegear. That gets a Clara. If this active ever goes down, or even now, you could retreat the active into the other Darkrai, and then Clara the energies back into your hand, and then bench the Moltres. But looks like instead we're gonna Clara back up the... Okay, yeah, we're gonna Clara back up the Lumineon. Yeah, I think the correct play would actually be going for the retreat, because Darkrai does have a 2 retreat cost, I thought. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, so he retreats, double Dark Patches into the other one, just switches the damage counters instead of switching the Pokemon. I mean, that's not a big deal. We know what we're doing. Doing the double Dark Patch to the Darkrai does allow it to still have all the energy on it. But if you were to, I think you should have retreated, gone for the Clara, benched the Moltres. Then if Savi is able to get like the boss's orders to bring back up the Darkrai that's damaged, then your Moltres' attack is just beefed up more. And you'll still have at least one Dark Patch in hand. So if maybe the active one gets knocked out, you could always, you know, promote the, like the baby Moltres Dark Patch back to the other Darkrai with the damage on it. Or just try to set up a different Darkrai, a third Darkrai. But of course, Chris really doesn't have too much in hand right now, so is going to go for the Lumineon next turn to try to draw into some sort of Pokemon that he can actually do quite literally anything with. Okay, so we're going to see the ability of the Umbreon is going to bring up the Moltres. Now the problem here is you only hit for 160, you're hitting 140 because of the double turbo, so you are going to have to retreat the Umbreon in order to be able to take a knockout here. Yeah, you're going to need Choice Belt on the Arceus. Yeah, you're going to need Choice Belt on the Arceus and attack with the Arceus this turn. But if you do that, you're setting yourself back up in a better position, so this seems like a war of like positioning right now because they're on fairly even footing. So Savi taking forever on his Starbreath search. We like to joke and say Savi plays slow a lot. He'll sit there with a one-card hand that's only Professor's Research and think about whether or not he wants to play it or not. I caught him doing that once, but I've made fun of him for years for it. It's all in good fun. I love you, Savi. Still deciding on the Starbreath. Okay, come on, Savi. Come on, Savi. I'm pretty sure they still finish this game before my match finishes, too. Alright, so we finally get the 2 cards off the Starbreath. We do go for Oh, okay, so we don't need the Choice Belt if we have Spoon Man. So Radiant Spoon Man comes down. He's able to move 1 damage counter, or 2 damage counters from 1 Pokemon, however he wants, or something like that. So he moves 1 from the undamaged Darkrai, or the almost undamaged Darkrai, to the active, and is able to take the knockout. So Chris now has 2 energy cards in hand, is able to just bench the Moltres. So I guess the play on the previous turn didn't matter too much, because now he has a Darkrai all set up along with the Moltres. So he's in the same position he would be if he played the turn out like I would have last turn. Like, his board state is exactly the same. His discard's exactly the same. It does go for the knockout after attaching an energy to the Radiant Greninja. That way it does have the ability to retreat if needed. So not too bad. This is a pretty good setup from Chris. So again, Savi just needs to have some sort of a comeback here. He could always boss knock out the Darkrai, but then that's feeding into the Moltres. And then Savi's going to need to find a way out of that. So the Moltres, for those who don't know, the baby Moltres does 50... a 10 plus 50 for each prize card your opponent has taken. So right now it's doing 110. It'll be doing 210 on the next turn. Or is it? Or is it? No, it's 20 plus... It's 20 plus 50, right? So it'd be 220 next turn. So he would be able to knock out an Arceus V in 1 hit. Savi goes for the Pokestop. Discards 3 cards that are not items. Looks like Volo, Research, and Double Turbo Energy. Nothing that he can really do here. So he just has to whack the active. He's not really being threatened of being knocked out right now. So this is still not that bad of a spot as long as Chris does not have boss's orders. But of course he does. So he is able to boss up the Arceus. Savi just laughs and scoops. I can see he did that little like chuckle. I could tell just by the body movement. I know it's there's more to the left side of the video than you guys can see. But yeah, he did that chuckle. So yeah, just scoops it up and he's like, all right, I'm done. I'm out of here. So as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed that. I am really a fan of Darkrai. I think it is underrated. And it does need to be worked on a little bit more. But it's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe tier 2, 3 right now. Something like that. And I do plan on working on it myself. I always pick it up every like 6 months on like PTCGO and try to figure it out, see if it's any better. Of course, now I have to play on PTCG Live, which sucks. So we will see you guys next time.